All right. What up, what up, what up, what up? How y'all doing tonight? We are a little late, but is it really late? You know what I'm saying? If we still end up live and it don't hit 8, 10, are we ever really late? You feel me? What's good, Joe? Welcome to the stream. Welcome to Hawks Hoops Live, your weekly live NBA show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Don't mind me. We're just lighting the candle for tonight. Before we get started, a lot that we want to go over. It's a lot that we want to go over, and we're gonna get to it. Range, what's good with you? Thanks for pulling up tonight. Connie, what's up? Thanks for pulling up tonight. Splash Brothers, what's good? Thanks for pulling up. Ant-Man, my guy, what's up? How you doing? All right. How y'all doing today? How was y'all week? Hopefully it was good. Mine was pretty solid. Cannot complain. VR, yes. Pink Shirt Wednesday is here. We're not going to make this a regular thing. I'm going to tell you that right now. But since y'all been asking, y'all mentioned it in the Discord. VR, you're not the only one who DM'd me. Somebody else DM'd me asking if we was going to wear pink today. So, I was like, sure. We'll bring out the pink sweatshirt today. Who knows what we're going to wear next week. But for today, Pink Shirt Wednesday. It's not going to be a regular thing though. It's not. It's just not. How y'all doing? Hopefully y'all doing well. I'm doing all right. Like I said earlier, today, as we already discussed, we're doing we did Eastern Conference grades last week, mid-season grades. At this point, we're maybe a week past mid-season. Most of these teams in the NBA have played 47 to 49 games so far. So a little bit past mid-season, but no one's hit 50 yet. So I'm we're right on time, kind of, sort of. But before we get into that, we got some news and other stuff we want to talk about. One thing that was really interesting, and I didn't even really get a chance to look into this fully myself before the show tonight, because I was trying to make sure my notes are all together for the grades for the mid-season grades. But one of the things that the NBA just announced that they're going to be doing is they're going to be doing for the All-Star game. If you don't know how it's worked in, I guess, at least the last 3, maybe even 4, I would say probably last 3-ish years, 3 or 4. My memory is slipping. You get your Eastern and your Western Conference, but they switched it up, and that whoever got the most votes was the captains of their team. And then a week before the All-Star game, they would have a draft and they would pick their teams. That's usually done in years prior, about a week before the All-Star games. Now, this year, they just announced that they're going to basically pick their teams 30 minutes before the All-Star game. So really, it's going to feel like a pickup game in the sense of guys are just going to be like, yo, you on my team, you on my team, you on my team, you on my team. I think it'd be pretty cool. Definitely will be cool to see who's the last guy left. I saw somebody talking about that. I don't know if we're going to get another. What year was that? That it was Rudy and Donovan were the last ones left, but it also happened to be the year that they were beefing right before Utah just decided to blow it up. So interesting stuff to think about, but I'm happy to see it because I think it adds another element to the All-Star game. And since we're talking about All-Star game, I know that's not the title of the stream, and I don't know how I got here to start at the top of the show, but low key, I wish for the All-Star game. So I know, how do I say this without sounding disrespectful? I want them to change the fourth quarter of the All-Star game. I know when they did it, it was to pay homage to the late great Kobe Bryant after his tragic passing. Each quarter is its own game in a sense. You can win a quarter, and then let me rephrase. Each quarter is almost like its own game, and at the end of each quarter, whoever wins that quarter, a certain amount gets donated to that team's charity of choice. But the game is overall won at the end. In the fourth quarter, they add up all your points from that third quarter, and then they just add 24 to that, and then make that the new goal. Right. So the fourth quarter, at least in these last couple of All-Star games, be going by real fast because in the first 3 quarters, these teams, no exaggeration, can score 40 points in a quarter because 1, it's the All-Star game, it's the best players in the NBA, and 2, nobody's playing defense. So the idea was, okay, if you only add 24, teams are more likely to play defense. But over the last, not every year, but there have been 1 or 2 where you get to that fourth quarter, and the team that's ahead is ahead by so much that they only got to add 24. But if the other team wants to win, they got to score like 40. I would just like a longer fourth quarter. I'm saying let's put it back to 12-minute quarters, even in the fourth. But that's just me. All right. Let me see what y'all talking about as I low key try to get together. I have my notes together. Don't worry about that. The notes are already done. The grades are already done. Everything I want to say is already written down. But the tier list itself is not made. So I'm trying to just grab a pre-made tier list real quick and just edit that on the fly as I talk to y'all. So let me see what y'all talking about in here as I continue. Range, I'm doing all right. Spurs S tier. Jazz and Kings going to be high A. Range, a man after my own heart right here. Man after my own heart. Daniel, what's good? How you doing, man? Thanks for pulling up. Suns and Wolves low, but I don't know because of injuries. Hey, Range be watching. Range is starting to learn how I think. The Suns and Wolves are a little low, especially them Wolves. The Jazz and the Kings are a little higher. Even got the Thunder a little higher. Thunder can take the 7th seed tonight if they win. That'd be dope. Add a 1v1 tournament or do international. It's interesting. I saw it was a clip of Spencer Dinwiddie from the Dallas Mavericks. If you know who Spencer Dinwiddie is, I don't know why I said that. But Spencer Dinwiddie in a recent interview, I just saw the clip. I didn't get a chance to watch the whole thing. I wish I remembered what, podcast he was on. But they basically asked him, would you be interested in a 1v1? Like, should the NBA add some sort of 1v1 to the All-Star game? And he was like, hey, man, I would be all down for it. He was like, and low key, not to toot my own horn, but I would be nice at it. But he said what I think as well, that the superstars in the NBA, so the LeBrons, the KDs, it's definitely like the Kawhis, he doubts they would actually be down to play and be a part of a 1v1 tournament. And if they're not going to be a part of a 1v1 tournament, it's almost like, what are we having a 1v1 tournament for? Imagine. It would be dope though. Curry, Mitchell, Tatum, like it would be dope. Oh, I put a Zion jersey card in my bag, your bag. Congrats, we are. Let me see. An international game would be interesting. I saw you put that earlier. US versus international. The only reason an international kills, the only reason I don't think we would ever see an international versus US All-Star game is because, while yes, the top of the pack when it comes to NBA stars, Giannis, Luka, Embiid, Jokic, that's arguably 4 of the top 7 guys in the league, right? All international players. But after that, I don't know how many more international players you're going to get on the All-Star team. You can add Sabonis, right? Throw Sabonis in there. I think he'll make it. But that's only 5. You need 12 to fill out a roster. And that's why I don't think we'll ever see an international versus USA All-Star, because it's so much a part of it is fan voting. So much a part of it is the coaches picking. The reason we were able to see it for the rookie-sophomore game is because, to an extent, I mean, you're always going to have some outliers, but to an extent, rookies and sophomores you'll have a couple of outstanding stars, but the rest of the pack, it doesn't necessarily, how can I put this? Doesn't matter as much. It would be forcing some guys to just give them an all-star appearance just because they're an international player and they're solid to fill out the international roster, in my opinion. That's why I don't think we'll see one. Nah, I would say if it's international, if they did it like that, they would have to do just US. If you're from Canada or if you're from Mexico, I know that's technically North America, but you gotta have to be a part of the international team because I don't think it's going to be. I know it's not technically in the NBA, but if you was going to make an international versus US All-Star, just to get enough players, you would have to. And international actually might be a part of it. They might recognize Canada and USA because I want to say, did Wiggins not play on the international team when he was I mean, this is years ago when he was a part of the Rising Stars game? And no, somebody asked me, Hawk, are you watching your team right now? The Sixers always play on Wednesdays. I never get to watch Shea on a Wednesday. It sucks. It sucks. Then who's starting? Bogdanovich. Oh, you still got Shea, Giannis, and B. Yoke. I just don't think you have enough. When Shea was young, he played for World, not USA. Okay, that's what I'm saying. So Shea's another good example. I was like, I know the Canadians be playing for the World team and not Team USA. All right, so let's go ahead and get into this. I'm trying to think, was there anything else I wanted to talk about? Oh, shout out to LeBron James before we get started. I swore I saw that Kobe did this as well, but I couldn't find if that was true or not. But everywhere else I'm seeing is saying that LeBron James just successfully, after last night, has now scored 40 points on all 30 teams at least once, which when you think about it in the grand scheme of things is a really dope feat. Talks about his scoring ability, talks about his longevity, availability, being able to play on a night-to-night basis. Like it's just dope. It's another thing that just adds to LeBron's resume of greatness that I've already seen some people say, well, what does it even mean for real? Doesn't matter. I'm not getting into whether or not it quote unquote matters. If it don't matter to you, I guess it don't matter to you. But consider no one else has ever done it, it's dope. At the very least, it's dope to me. All right. That's what it was. Because I was about to say, I want to say I saw that Kobe did it, but Kobe did it to every team except the Lakers. That's what it was. Appreciate you, VR. All right. I'm still finna be here, but what's good? What's a good amount of time? What's the good amount of time for me to study? Your test is 25 questions, and you want to know how long you got to study in minutes. I'm gonna put you on. I never was a timed studier. I just rewrote my notes a lot. I ain't gonna lie to you. I saw the exact. Is this in reference to the Kobe thing? Saying I saw the exact same thing? Because I was like, I want to say, I swore I saw somebody saying Kobe did it too. I got a perm? It look like I got a perm. My hair shiny like that right now? I don't know. All right. Rudy Gay the GOAT. Appreciate you for pulling up, man. How you doing today? The GOAT Sabonis is a better Jokic. Sheesh. Hey, yo. It's one thing you can rely on. It's a Kings fan saying something crazy. You feel me? But in all the things since Canada has the team, Canadians been on the USA team. Oh, is this in terms of maybe is that in terms of like international play as in FIBA in the Olympics? Are some Canadians on the US team? Because I don't know if I've ever even noticed Canada sending a team to FIBA or Olympics. But I do know, at least in terms of internal NBA stuff, if it's USA versus World, Canada gonna be on Team World. Oh, Baby Rage was good. 305. All right. No, in the NBA. Hawk, can you find it? Maybe. I don't know what I'm looking for when you said, can I find it? I ain't gonna lie to you. I ain't gonna lie to you. Oh, you changed your name to your producer name? I'm not mad at that. RJ was also on World, not USA. I do remember RJ being on World. I'm not gonna lie. I do remember that. Kobe was a Laker his entire career. Exactly. That's why that's the only reason he didn't score 40 on all 30 teams, because you can't score on your own team. And if it's social studies, I ain't gonna lie to you, range about 20 minutes. It's just in Discord, search up, can you find it? What? You know what that you saying in Discord just reminded me of though? Because I reached for my phone and my phone's in my hand. What does that mean? It means we're not live on TikTok. All right. You have to give me a second on checking the Discord because I got to open up the Discord app because it's not open on my phone, on my computer right now. But in the meantime, I'm looking for. I'm looking for my tripod. I'm about to say I'm looking for my tripod that I use on my phone every week, but I couldn't find it at the moment. All right. So I guess we'll just go ahead and hop into this. Off the top of my head, I can't think of any other NBA news that I wrote down and wanted to talk about before we actually started doing the grading and stuff like that. Um, Unfortunately, we still don't have any trade rumors going on around anything like crazy like that because the trade season is dead. We do have one trade that happened, and I can talk about that while I try to set up TikTok. So the Wizards traded Rui Hachimura to the Lakers for Kendrick Nunn, and I want to say 3 second-round picks, if I remember correctly. It might be 2. I'll be honest, I don't have this in front of me. I'm trying to remember it off the top of my head. I like the trade for the Lakers. It was a smooth trade. The Rui kind of does some of the things that the Lakers needed. He's a solid shooter. I'll give him good shooter. He's a good shooter, a solid defender. He adds just some size in the wing position to that team. I think they needed some size. It was sometimes they was running out there with 3 guards, and that's just not great defensively for them. I'm not saying Rui's going to come in here and, change everything for the Lakers or anything like that, to be honest with you. But I do think it was a good pickup. I think it was a smart pickup. And I'm curious to see what else they do, the Lakers, and the part of the trade that surprised me the most, I'll say this, because that's the conversation I think a lot of people will have. Everybody was just saying, well, the Wizards got fleeced. The Wizards got fleeced. I don't know if it's necessarily that the Wizards got fleeced. Maybe Rui didn't have as much value as I or a lot of other people thought. Because I'll be honest, I don't think Rui is the type of player that's going to give you an automatic, first round pick for. But I thought maybe, okay, the seconds were cool, but maybe like a different player in return. Maybe no other team wanted Rui. That's the only thing, you know what I mean? Like, it just felt, I don't want to, like I said, once again, to me, it wasn't a fleece. I just was surprised it went to the Lakers for that. But shout out to the Lakers. Shout out to the Lakers. And Ranger, low risk, high reward. I'll give you that. That's what I'm saying. That's what saying he's an okay defender. He's not a great, or I'll say even a good defender, but he's average. He's not bad. He's average. So I don't know. I thought maybe the asking price was higher, but then again, it's also Rui Hachimura. He's I want to say, restricted free agent this summer. I think I made the mistake a couple of weeks ago saying he was an unrestricted free agent, but I'm fairly certain he's a restricted. I can tell you for sure in 2.5 seconds, but Rui Hachimura contract. And so I get it from the Wizards standpoint. They clearly didn't want us to re-sign him. They knew they wanted to. Oh yeah, so he is a restricted free agent this summer. They knew they didn't want to re-sign him. They were trying to pay Kuzma. I don't know if that's necessarily the road they need to take either, but that's where they are. All right. So we're officially now live on TikTok. No, Hawk can't find it. I ain't gonna lie to you. I don't know what you want me to find, VR. I really don't know what you want me to find. You said search in Discord. Search up. Can you in Discord search? You can search in Discord. Y'all just asked me to do stuff to make me look old, bro. I swear, I didn't know you could search in Discord. Hey, Pegasus Media, what's good with you? Thanks for pulling up to the stream, guys. From what I'm told, LA is looking to trade for Miles Turner. So it's funny. I'm not necessarily saying you're right or wrong, but it's funny. I saw who did I see this report from? I don't remember who it was. I saw a tweet. And because I don't remember who it was from, I'll be honest, I don't know how reliable it is as a source. But I saw that the Pacers are looking to move Buddy Hield and somebody else. But my point was Miles Turner's name was not attached to that. I'm very curious to see if maybe the Pacers decide to change their mind on trading Miles Turner. I know, like you said, last year they clearly wanted to trade him. They only moved Sabonis. Earlier in the year, Miles Turner's on Woj's podcast saying, "Hey yo, I'd be great on the Lakers." But I mean, honestly, now Miles Turner's playing really, really well. He looks good alongside of Halliburton. I know Halliburton's out right now. They've, I think, lost 3 or 4 in a row since he's been out. But I mean, Halliburton had them playing well, had Miles looking really well. So I don't, to be honest, I don't know. They might be decided to trade him still. We'll see. We'll see. Oh, okay. Yeah, this is the trade. This is what the report I saw. It was from somebody called Amico Hoops. Sam Amico. I don't even know who this is. So I can't, like I said, I don't know how reliable the source was. Senior writer for hoopswire.com, previous Fox Sports, CBS Sports. I don't know how, I'll be honest, I don't know how reliable of a source that was, but the Pacers are open to moving Buddy Hield and Chris Duarte. I just thought it was interesting that Miles Turner's name wasn't mentioned here. But once again, I don't know how reliable of a source this guy is. All right, so let's go ahead and get in this tier list. Matthew is cool. Yay on TikTok. What's good with you? Thanks for pulling up. If you watch on TikTok right now and you want to see the full stream with, like, I'm screen sharing, we're doing a tier list. We're grading each team in the Western Conference so far into the season based on what my expectations were in the beginning of the season. Pull up to the YouTube, link in the bio. It's just a better experience. I ain't gonna lie to you. All right. Let me do one thing right here. LA has been trying to trade for Turner for 15 years. Chris Duarte is a 30-year-old man. He's a sophomore, but he's 26. Chris Duarte, he's a sophomore, but he's 26. Forgot he just said. I feel that. All right. Okay, let's get into this. So, per usual, I'll be honest. This one was. Let me restart my brain here. Let me first pull up my. How did I do this last week? We did save to keep, and then I had to open it and keep. Right? Open and keep. And then I could double click it. And then now y'all can see what my expectations were from last year. All right. So we're doing. All right, Range. I'll catch you in a second, man. I'll catch you in a second, Range. Did this not click? Yeah, there we go. There we go. Okay. So we're grading. We're giving our grades for the Western Conference teams about the midway point through the season. Like we said earlier, each team has played roughly 44 to 49 games. So we're a little bit past the halfway mark, but it's still close enough. All the stats and stuff I'm going to be reading off the standings is based off today. Like I just did all this stuff today. And but the grades themselves are one based on, I guess, how a team is performing now. So it doesn't necessarily mean if a team is at the bottom of the conference, they're automatically going to get an F, because it's a mix of how they're performing now and what my expectations were for them going into the season. So to get to what my expectations were, let's, take a look at what I predicted the standings were going to be back in October. Guru, what's good with you, my man? Guru, what's good with you? Thanks for pulling up to the stream. You actually low-key just in time, Guru. We about to start the grades. My brain is moving so fast and slow at the same time. I got to slow down, or I'm going to be doing a lot of just random pauses to let my brain catch up with what I'm trying to say. So if I talk slower, my brain has the opportunity to give me the words. So we're going to talk a little slower today, because I feel like I was talking very fast to start the stream. Very, very fast. What's good, Derek? How you doing, bro? All right. So right here, stalled me out. I ain't gonna lie. Lakers are not a B tier on my list. I'm actually gonna move my notes over here so I can see them a little bit better. All right. So these were my standings at the beginning of this season. It's always funny when you look back on things in retrospect, because as soon as I pulled this list up myself, I thought a couple of first things I thought, why the heck did I have the Clippers this high? What made me think the Clippers guys were going to play enough games to be number one in the Western Conference? No idea. The Warriors shocked me. The fact that I had them second, and we'll get to them and where they are, and we'll get to my rating for them. Some big surprises, though. Obviously, the Jazz were a surprise for me. The Thunder were a surprise for me. I owe a deep apology to Kings fans and the city of Sacramento. I was wilding. I ain't gonna lie. I was wild in Sacramento. Because y'all are currently, I want to say, second in the West. And I thought, no, y'all third in the West, and I thought y'all were going to be the 11 seed on the outside of the play-in. So y'all surprised me. The rest we'll get to as we go, but let's go ahead and get into this. Here we go. And then we're going to hit presentation mode. All right, so we have this tier list right here. We're only doing Western Conference teams. Obviously, you see every team here. We just going to ignore the rest of them. I didn't make this tier list, so if you don't like the way some of these logos look, yeah, I didn't do it. I don't know why I'm telling you this, but I am. All right. Who do we want to start with? You know, honestly, I'm going to start off at the top, because this team, is this still here? What? Boom. All right, the comment was not going away, and it was annoying me. And that's the thing. The craziest part about that is VR. If you don't know, Young Weary is he's a community member. He's a Discord member. He's been around since low key day one. He said in the beginning of the season that the Kings were going to be a 4 seed. And when I tell you, I want to say he said it during the live. The chat, myself, Discord, we all were like, yo, Weary, chill, my guy. He saw something we ain't see. He saw something we ain't see. I'm gonna have to clip this and send it to him, but I also owe him an apology, because clearly he was right and I was wrong. All right, so let's start this out. First A team we're going to give out. This is going to be annoying because both East and West are in here. And because I didn't put the logos, honestly, I don't know which logo is in here and what logo I need to be looking for. Denver Nuggets, I'm giving an A, right? So currently right now, they're first in the Western Conference. They're actually slowly, low-key, if you notice, trying to put a little bit of cushion between themselves and the rest of the pack. They're 34-14. They have the second best offense in the NBA, the fourth best net rating in the NBA. And we'll talk about Jokic in a second. Well, I guess we'll talk about him now. Jokic is doing Jokic stuff once again. He has the potential, as much as it pains me to say, because I want my guy Joel Embiid to win it. It wouldn't be crazy if Jokic wins a third MVP in a row, because exactly what we thought and on paper should happen is happening. They were the 6th seed last year. And he still got the MVP, 6th or 5th. I don't remember off the top of my head. I'm not gonna lie to you. And we all were saying, when MPJ and Jamal Murray come back, the Nuggets should be like the 1 seed. And they were in the mix for a while. They were towards the top of the Western Conference, but now they are the 1 seed. And if I'm not mistaken, there is I'm not going to necessarily compare them to the Grizzlies, because the Grizzlies are close, but the 1 and 2 seeds in the Western Conference are starting to try to pull away from the rest of the pack. So the Kings, which are only the 3 seed, are 6 games back from the 1 seed. In comparison to the Eastern Conference, the 3 seed is only 4 games back. Not a crazy difference, but it's giving the feeling that the Nuggets are slowly trying to, really string some wins together. They're 9-1 in their last 10 and try to start to pull away. And a lot of it is because of Jokic. He's looked just as good as he has the last 2 seasons. I know there was this discourse and conversations about, is Jokic still as good as he has been? Some people were having conversations, the fact that his scoring numbers were down a little bit, without looking at the bigger picture of, yes, his scoring numbers might be down a little bit, but that's because he has a potential all-star point guard back in the lineup and one of the best 6'10" shooters in the league and MPJ back in the lineup. So when you get two guys who can legitimately average 20 plus, it is going to be his scoring numbers are going to go down a little bit. He had to go crazy these last 2 seasons for his team to win games. So scoring go down, but the impact hasn't gone anywhere. He's still passing. The offense is still running through him. He's still this offensive machine that the NBA has never seen before. So to me, it ain't crazy to think of the idea that Jokic could win a third MVP. But a couple other pieces I want to talk about the Nuggets, because I really do like the Nuggets when they play. I really enjoy watching the Nuggets. Jamal Murray and MPJ are looking better and better every game. They started out the season, I don't want to say slow, but you could tell they were coming back from not playing for a while. So take that as you will. But they're playing great. MPJ shooting 40% from 3 on almost 7 attempts a game. Jamal Murray shooting 38% from 3 on 6 attempts a game. Jamal Murray is starting to get back into the rhythm of driving to the paint, driving to the basket. The team looks really, really good right now. But as much as I love Jokic, we just talked about him, as much as it's great that Jamal Murray and MPJ are back, oddly enough, my favorite person to watch on the Denver Nuggets is Aaron Gordon. I love what I see from him on a night-to-night basis. And you know what's crazy? I don't think we see this version of Aaron Gordon if Jamal Murray and MPJ aren't injured all last season. Because they were out all last season, the Nuggets had to turn to somebody to score something. And a lot of that fell on Aaron Gordon's shoulders. He learned how to play with Jokic in a way that, I don't know, like he fits. My point is, he fits so well in that front court alongside Jokic because he has the ability to spread the floor a little bit. Like he's 38% from 3, which is a career high. It's only 2.5 attempts a game, but he doesn't necessarily need to shoot a ton. He can finish well in the paint or well around the basket. He's almost like a point of attack defender if their best player on the other team is a forward or a big. I've seen him guard small forwards, power forwards, not as many centers, but he's out on the wing guarding some of these primary ball handlers for some of these teams. Now, is he doing an amazing job at it and shutting down guys? Absolutely not. But he's solid. He's just does whatever this team needs him to do. And I think every good NBA team needs a guy like that. For last year for the Warriors, when they won the championship, it was Andrew Wiggins. He was the guy who did whatever they needed them to do to win games. And this year for the Nuggets, it's Aaron Gordon. Nav, what's good with you? How you doing? I'm doing all right. Good to see you. Thanks for pulling up to the stream. Hawks left. Hello. Apparently, this is here as well. Appreciate you for pulling up. You were the forehead guy in the last stream. Nav, I remember you, Nav. Let me fix this light. All right, next up, let's just keep it rolling. I had a lot to say about the Nuggets. Some teams I have more to say about the others, just like the Eastern Conference. Some teams we've talked about for almost 5 minutes. Some teams, 60 seconds. It just depends. The Memphis Grizzlies I have next. They're second in the Western Conference. They're currently 31-16. I gave Memphis a B. Now, I like what Memphis is doing. I want to say when we looked at them, I had them as a 7th seed in the Western Conference just because I thought, I'm still mad at myself for having the Timberwolves this high because I know I did not think the Timberwolves were going to be this good. We'll get to the Timberwolves in a little bit. The Grizzlies, I'm giving a B, though. Jaren Jackson Jr. We'll get to Ja and the rest of the team in a little bit. The Grizzlies right now have the number 1 defense in the NBA, right? And a core, not everything, but 80% of that falls on Jaren Jackson Jr.'s shoulders. Without a doubt, to me at least, he's Defensive Player of the Year. Without a doubt. How I've seen him impact the game. He's leading the league in blocks right now, and I know blocks don't tell the full story. There's more to defense than just blocks. Some people say it even can be a detriment to some players because and it has been to Jaren Jackson in years past because he was so determined to go after every block he would get himself into foul trouble. He's dialed that back a little bit. He's gotten a little bit smarter on when he does and does not go for blocks. He's shooting 38% from the 3-point line this year on, I think I wrote down his total attempts instead of his per game attempts, because I'm like, why am I seeing on 94 attempts? I think that might be what he shot for the season. But 38% from three, so it got the ability to stretch the floor a little bit. For Ja, him and Ja play very well together, and defensively, like I've seen him win games for the Memphis Grizzlies on the defensive end of the ball, whether that be a game-winning block, whether that be just getting the shutdown plays at the end of the fourth quarter. I've seen him win games for the Memphis Grizzlies in the fourth quarter. To me, at least, he's defensive player of the year. I'm still loving what I'm seeing from Ja Morant. Obviously, this is just nitpicking. If you really want to nitpick, he's technically slightly less efficient than he was last year. He's still averaging 27 points, 8 assists, which is a career high for him. But you got to keep in mind that Desmond Bane's been out for most of this season. And Desmond Bane, we talked about it in the first couple of weeks of the season. Him and Ja were about to take the league by storm. They ran in, we had those couple of games in a row to start the season where it was like they both was getting 30. Bane was like 26 a game. Ja was 27 a game. Like, they were really gelling together and starting to do some really, really impressive stuff. He's been solid. Desmond Bane has been solid since his return. I'm very curious to see how he continues to get acclimated more and more to his offense, and maybe even put the Grizzlies to catch up to the Nuggets, and by the time the season's over. Nah, VR, that's crazy. You're not gonna hear that out loud. You're not gonna hear that out loud. No, I mean, it made a new account called Hawks Forehead. No. I remember the Hawks Forehead. Oh, you were that account. I see what you're saying, Nav. Hawks wife, when you're going to be done. That is crazy. Military, what's good with you? What about Jaren? We just talked about Jaren. I think he's great, and I think he won Defensive Player of the Year. I'm not going to lie to you. If the Grizzlies are healthy, I think they're an A-tier team. If they were healthy the whole season, they probably would be. I'm not gonna lie to you. If they were healthy the whole season, they probably would be, because I can guarantee you they'd be higher in terms of their offensive rating. I would not be surprised if they were healthy. I probably would have them as an A tier. I'm not mad at you. Why y'all be making these accounts, bro? How many Gmails y'all got? How many Gmails do y'all have? All right, we're going to move some things around. We're actually going to skip around because I don't want to just sit here and go down the standings. So I'm gonna mix it up. We're going to do the Clippers next. The Clippers, I'm frustrated with the Clippers, right? In the offseason, on paper, I mean, honestly, for the last 3 seasons, on paper, we've all said the Clippers are contenders. The Clippers, if they're healthy, one of the best teams in the league. Kawhi, PG should be an amazing dynamic duo. But the Clippers, once again, have had a rough start due to health. Kawhi has only played 25 out of the possible 46 games that they've played so far. And in that, he's averaging 20 points, 6 rebounds, 3.8 assists. I will admit, Kawhi has been playing better over his last 5 games. Those numbers are a little bit higher. I didn't write them down, but they are higher. Paul George has only played 34 out of 46 games, and he's averaging 23, 6, and 5. So when they play, they are good. They do look good. It's just not consistent. And I think that inconsistency is part of what's hurting this team, because guys like Reggie Jackson, Covington, Powell, like the rest of the guys have to learn how to play basically 2 complete different styles of basketball if Kawhi's and Paul George are on the court versus Kawhi and Paul George not being on the court. John Wall doesn't look as good as I thought he would have, or at least hoped he would have going into this. Now, I didn't expect him to come in and do a whole lot of scoring, but I wanted him to be a better playmaker for this team, because one of the things I said throughout the summer is they need playmaking. John Wall isn't, you can say maybe he's not getting the opportunity to do some of that playmaking. He is coming off the bench. But even playmaking aside, when he is on the court, he doesn't look as good as I would like him to. He's shooting horrible, 40% from the field, 30% from 3. I still think this team needs a backup big. I love Zubac, but he can't play all 48 minutes. And like I said earlier, this team desperately needs a playmaking, in my opinion. Very similar to Lonzo Ball's impact on the Bulls. Now, granted, Lonzo Ball's one of the best playmakers in the league, so I know that's a stretch to just say, they just need somebody who's like Lonzo. But considering Kawhi and PG, I know they have the ability to play make, but they're scorers and defenders first, at least in my opinion. I think this team would benefit greatly from someone who could distribute the ball to get the rest of the team involved a little bit more. All that being said, I give the Clippers a C. I think they're solid. I think injuries are holding it back a little bit. I just don't think they did the best job at filling out some holes in their roster. But considering everything that they've been through, they're right in the middle of the pack. They're fifth in the Western Conference at 26 and 24. So I'm not mad at it. Ja's mixtape is S tier. That's a fact. I have 11 Gmails accounts. That is insane. Range says he wasn't a believer in the Grizzlies, thought they would be a 7 seed, but Ja, Bane, and JJJ all take the leaps while losing depth in the offseason. They have picks, so they might go for Kuz, OG, Crowder, etc. That's an excellent point. I wouldn't be surprised if the Grizzlies try to become buyers. I'll be honest, I haven't heard a lot of rumors myself surrounding the Grizzlies. I haven't heard a lot of reports on them trying to make a move, but I wouldn't be surprised because I agree that starting five is really, really good. But when I look at the bench, they did lose some depth. Like they miss Kyle Anderson. They miss what is his name? The Anthony Melton. The Sixers stole him. Now, granted, Danny Green is coming. Or am I thinking of the Timberwolves? I don't believe so. Danny Green, I want to say, is making his debut tonight. So I don't know. That might be some bench depth. But I do agree. The Grizzlies would benefit greatly from just adding some depth to this team. Not Hawk's evil twin with a mustache. Look, let's just talk about this. This is why I rock with y'all, and this is why we create content. Because although we do love basketball, we love talking hoops, all this, that, the third. This is community right here. This is shout out to whoever made this. Shout out to y'all for pulling up to the streams, obviously, as always. I feel like I haven't thanked y'all for pulling up to the stream, so I just want to take a second to do that. But this right here, not everybody gonna get this. If you're part of the Rewatch gang, you might be like, why are we focusing? Because this is community. Hawk's evil twin? Somebody made this. Somebody. Is that a mustache on me? Now that I can actually see it. I'm dead. This guy's pretty handsome. Very handsome gentleman. I'm better looking though. I'm dead. Wow. Clippers are B tier based on expectations. For me, no, only because my expectations, as you saw, was a 1 seed. Now, granted, that might have been a little high, but I had high expectations for the Clippers. For now, I'm going to give them a C. They're not bad. I'm just going to give them a C based on expectations for me. Guess who it is? Dang, if I had to guess who... that's an excellent question. I would guess Nav or maybe Mega VR, but I don't know. I don't know. Well, no. I know the... I know Melton is a Sixer. I was just trying to remember where we got him from, and it was the Grizzlies. Danny Green worth $10 million. Then they got a lot of rookies. Oh, so you're saying maybe move Danny Green? I'd be curious to see how he performs, because I mean, if he can shoot well like he's been shooting for most of his career, and if he's at least solid defensively, I know he's coming off of an ACL injury, so we'll have to see what type of defense he has coming back. But I wouldn't be mad at them at least trying to see what it looks like. Had the Clippers at 60 games. That's tough. Only Mac, what's good with you, my guy? You know what's hilarious? I was literally just on your Twitter, because I realized we followed each other sometime last week. And I was just on your Twitter, like going through immediate. I was just looking at your clips, and I was like, "Oh, this dude is hilarious." I was watching you were looking at homes in Jamaica, Queens, and New York, and it was a clip, and you said Minnie and Mickey was in the ceiling. You know what I mean? I was dead, so I will definitely be tuning in to some more of your content. I'm gonna pull up to your YouTube and subscribe after this. But I was literally right before I started the stream. I was on Twitter and I was in your media. You got good content, bro, for sure, for real, for real. He is just then the rookies and picks are more important. No, range. That is facts. It just depends on what I mean is this. The reason I say they might as well just let him rock and let him play is because of honestly a lot of the reasons you said. If they add picks and if they add some of the young pieces, then sure, yeah, you throw Danny in there as salary filler. But in the same breath, how much are Grizzlies picks, really worth to some teams that might be trying to like move like an OG or something like that, only because the Grizzlies are a good team. So you know what I mean? That's just my thoughts. And depending on what team you trade to, I guess a rookie would be interested if a team's really just trying to blow it up and go young. That's the only reason I'm like, well, if you can't move Danny, I mean, you just play him and see what he can do, and maybe potentially let him walk. That's all. I'm not disagreeing with you at all. I'm just just sharing. All right, we're all over the place. This is literally what we do all the time. We're 45 minutes into the stream. We've done 3 teams. We're doing 3 more. I'm doing at least 3 more teams before I look at comments because I rock with y'all all day, and then I won't be doing what we on the stream to do. All right. We just did the Clippers. You know what? Let's just do it. Kings. The Kings here today. I don't know. Ain't no shame on my game. I was wrong on the Kings. Completely wrong. Well, 50-50 wrong. Last summer, going into the season, my expectations were, I said they were going to be amazing offensively, and they were going to be one of the worst defenses in the league. I just didn't also expect offense, and maybe it was me being naive, because yes, if you got a lot of offense, you're going to win a lot of regular season games. I thought they were going to be kind of a 50-50 split because I didn't have high expectations for that defense. And I didn't know how good they were going to be. I thought they were going to be a playing team. But right now, the Kings are 3rd in the Western Conference, 27-19. Now, granted, yes, if they lose 3 games, you can be the 6th seed in the West. That's just how close it is. But right now, they're playing really, really well. They have literally the best offense in the NBA. And low-key, quiet as kept. Sabonis is mini Jokic. So much of the offense is run through Sabonis. His average is 7.5 assists a game. He's leading that team in assists. Fox is right behind him at 6 assists a game. But so much of that team's offense is run through a Sabonis pick and roll, a Sabonis handoff, Sabonis maybe finding the open man. He's a rebounding machine. He's leading the league in rebounds at 12.5 a game. De'Aaron Fox is playing so well. He finishes at the rim, is one of the best guards in the league when it comes to finishing in the painted area. Malik Monk. Now, I feel like I've been a broken record almost, because I've said this for the last month now. I've been saying this. Whenever I personally tune into Kings games, Malik Monk puts on the show. And it might not be nothing crazy in a box score, but he consistently scores when the Kings need him to score. He's a great guy to come off the bench. Now, today was one of the first times in a while I've actually taken a hard look at his numbers. He's really not that efficient. But honestly, I'm not tripping. Because, like I said, when I watch him, he be hitting. Now, he technically shoot 42% from the field, 31% from the 3. But when I watch the Kings, that man be hitting. So it's a catch-22. But shout out to the Kings. They're playing very well. Defensively, there's still a lot to be desired. They're the 22nd best or worst, however you want to put it, defense in the league. Bottom 10 defense, but the net rating, they're number 6. So the offense is elite. The defense is not so much. And it ends up being really, really exciting basketball to watch. I'm not wishing on their downfall or anything like that, but I'm just very curious to see what that looks like in the in the postseason. And I feel like I can confidently say in the postseason, because the way they're playing right now, there's no reason the Kings should not be in the playoffs. Absolutely no reason the Kings should not be in the playoffs. All right. Let's do this next. So the Pelicans I give a B to. Pelicans were a tough team for me. Right now they're 4th in the Western Conference. They're 26-22. One thing that really did surprise me, I have the 6th best defense in the NBA. When I watch them, it don't feel like sixth best defense in the NBA, but they do rebound solidly. They're a bigger team, so it's a little harder to score and to paint on them just between when healthy. You got like Zion, Valanciunas, Larry Nance off the bench. BI is not necessarily small himself. I mean, granted, he's been out for 20 games. But overall, they've been great, for a lack of a better phrase. Zion, before he went down, looked absolutely phenomenal. CJ's been looking really, really good this year. I got it written down. I'm not even gonna lie to you. CJ, when his career is all said and done, might go down as the best player in the NBA to never make an All-Star team. He's at least in that conversation. And off the top of my head, I feel like I can confidently say he's top 3. I don't know who the other 2 guys right now off the top of my head, but off the top of my head, confidently, he's top 3 in terms of guys who have never made an All-Star team. Currently, he's averaging 21 points a game on 38% from 3, which, when healthy, that is amazing in terms of spacing the floor for Zion and Brandon Ingram to go to work. At one point in the season, they were leading the West. The reason I gave them a B and maybe not even an A is because while they did beat my expectations slightly, the injury bug just looms over this team. So Zion has been great, but he's only played about half of the season so far. He's played 29 out of the 48 available games. That's almost 20 games missed. Brandon Ingram, left toe injury, it was hilarious. I was watching I know he had been out since November 25th. And I know it was a foot injury. But since he had been out for so long, my brain just was like, oh, he probably like broke a bone or sprained an ankle. Like, I thought it was I don't want to downplay it, but serious injury. I'm listening to The Mismatch. Shout out to Kevin O'Connor and Chris Vernon. Y'all know that's one of my favorite podcasts. I bring it up almost every week. I'm listening to them and I'm like, yo, they're talking about something. He only has a left toe contusion. And I'm like, and they're like, AKA a bone bruise. I'm like, no. There's no way that's exactly what it was. So I just happened to Google, because I never Googled it, what his injury was. And I go to Google it, and sure enough, bone bruise. We might have a conversation later about the pros and cons, I guess, of guys playing through injury. Because if you ask me like 10, 15 years ago, I guarantee you guys are going to try to play through that. It is what it is. Because granted, I mean, while he was out, they were still rolling. They were still winning games. They just started losing the last like week and a half when Zion went back out. But Brandon Ingram, I want to say, is back tonight in the lineup. So Pelicans might turn this around. That's why I'm giving them a B. All right, let's see what y'all talking about in here. Let's see what y'all talking about. Hey, what's good, Suns Geek? Thanks for pulling up to this stream. Hey, if you ever want to know what's going on with the Phoenix Suns, check out my guy, Suns Geek. He puts out great content on a very consistent basis. The Phoenix Suns have a roller coaster season. The Sarver controversy, so many other stuff have made that we have 24 wins. Injury have killed us. Grade B or C. Everyone smash the like. Hey, y'all heard the man. Smash the like button. Y'all heard the man. Smash the like button. Random fact from Reigns. I think Cedric Maxwell's never an All-Star. He was 81 Finals MVP. Doesn't mean he deserved it over Bird, but probably him then CJ. That is a fun fact. Nah, this is crazy. This is crazy. That is insane. Now, that is some ball in NBA history type stuff. That is definitely some ball type stuff. Since Suns Geek is here, let's do the Phoenix Suns. I have them a little further down the list, but let's do the Suns. He gave them a C. I have a lot of thoughts on the Suns, right? So the Suns, yes, injuries have killed them. Let me just read this for y'all, because when you really break it down, it's a shocker that they have won 25 games. It really is. So Chris Paul has played 28 out of the possible 49 games. Booker has played 29 out of the possible 49 games. Cam Johnson has only played 11 of the possible 49 games. Cameron Payne has played 28 out of the possible 49 games. All in all, out of those guys, at one point or another, there was really a stretch of time when all 4 of them were out together, like a big stretch of time that all 4 of them were out together. At one point, they were missing 66 points worth of offense from their lineup, just gone. And they had to find an alternate route. All that being said, cat's out the bag. I gave the Suns a C, because when Suns Geek brought up a good point. When you think of the Robert Sarver controversy, going through that, when you think of all the injuries that they've been through, you think of the fact that Jay Crowder just randomly was like, yo, I don't want to play for this team. Like, he's nice enough to say he don't want to play for a team. absolutely insane if you ask me. Jay Crowder, you are not that nice. Go hoop, my young man. Old man, I guess. You ain't young. But it's just, at one point, they literally were missing 4 of their starters. And I get it. A lot of people get taking this opportunity to rag on the Suns, to call Chris Paul wash, to say the Suns, are frauds, say that their potential contention window is closing. Me personally, honestly, I don't know if I'm willing to go that far. When they had Devin Booker, they won 18-11 when Devin Booker was playing earlier this season. If they were healthy, they would be the top, not the top, but they'd be closer to the top of the Western Conference. I have no doubt in my mind. I really have no doubt in my mind. If they were healthy, they'd be closer to the top of the Western Conference. And them being 7th isn't really that bad to me personally. Let me see what Range is saying here. Suns Geek, would you be interested in Mike Conley because y'all need a ball handler who can come off the bench and maybe start if Booker and CP3 are injured? Dario J and a lottery protected first. That's not bad. I don't know if the Jazz want it. I mean, they might be interested just because of the lottery protected first, but that's really not that bad. Because one of the things I think the Suns could benefit from, and I think one of the things that we are seeing on display here, and it's a catch-22 because on one hand you could be like, well, they clearly need. I've heard people say they clearly need some backcourt depth, like some depth at the guard position, with Chris Paul being out and Devin Booker being out. But I'm like, okay, but also Cam Johnson, Cam Payne is out. So I'm like, you're missing 3 of your lead guards, all of whom are, I mean, Devin Booker's elite. Chris Paul's Chris Paul, and Cam Payne is still pretty solid. He was playing well. I mean, I guess you could add another guard to that mix, but I also worry, maybe not worry is the word, but wonder if and when all 3 of those guards are back and healthy into the lineup, does whoever that 4th guard you added get buried in a rotation, and then how do you use him there? So, that's the only thought or hesitation I have there about the Suns trading for a guard. Our GM is unpredictable to trades for better or worse. That is also very, very true. Would Kuzma be most ideal? I agree. I don't think Kuzma's getting traded since they traded Rui. I agree with this thought process. I don't know what in the world the Wizards are doing. We talked about this last week. Me personally, I'm hitting the Wizards blow it up. This team is trash. So I think Kuzma should also be traded to somebody personally, but I don't think it'll happen. I think they'll try to do a retooling, try to compete, and they're going to be like a random 9 seed for the next 3 years. That's my honest thoughts on the Wizards. I hate the position that they're in right now. John Collins would be interesting for them. I don't know if I love John Collins and Ayton playing together in the same front court, but I'm not mad at it, to be honest with you. Now, what was I right about? All right, let me make sure. While he tells me what I was right about, we're going to move on right to the next team and keep this show on the road. What do I have next? We got the Pelicans up there. We put the Kings up there. The Grizzlies are already up there. The Suns are up there. Let's talk about the Mavericks. So the Mavericks are interesting to me because the Mavericks have Luka Doncic. And Luka is in the conversation for MVP. Depending on who you talk to, they might say he's the best player in the NBA. I don't know if I'm willing and ready to go there yet, only because I really value. Oh, was I really? That's hilarious. That's funny. I know what you're talking about. That is funny that I was right about that. I be knowing. I be knowing, y'all. See, I be in tune with the community. You feel me? Me in the community. We here. We here. Who are we talking about? The Mavericks. What I was saying was, depending on who you're talking to, somebody might say Luka's the best player in the NBA. I don't know if I'm ready to make that claim yet, only because I'm a guy who values two-way play. This is no disrespect to Luka. I just think there are guys that are doing very similar things that Luka is doing, but also playing amazing defense on the other side of the court. Look at Giannis. All that being said, I personally, just to get the cat out of the bag and so I can make sure I have actually said it and put them there, I gave the Dallas Mavericks a C. They're currently sixth in the Western Conference. They're 25-24. They have the fifth best offense in the NBA, 25th best defense, which ironically puts them smack dab in the middle of the net rating. They're 15th. Luka right now 33, 8-9, like absolutely. It's basically 33, 9-9 if you round up. 49% from the field, 35% from three. Looking absolutely phenomenal. The reason this offense is fifth in the NBA is because Luka is amazing. He knows how to pass the ball, and they got shooters around him. A recipe for success. Christian Wood has been very, very good. Honestly, for me, he's playing exactly how I expected him to play going into this season. Now, you may be wondering or asking me, why do I have them at a C? Actually, you know what? uh, you might be wondering why I have them at a C position. And it's because I think, at least for me, when I watch the Dallas Mavericks, a lot of it is obviously Luka. You got to go crazy for us to win, and to an extent, I mean that's why you have a superstar there. But there are some things I would like to see more for this team in terms of a supporting cast. Now, I'll be honest, Spencer Dinwiddie has been playing very, very well. One of the apprehensions I had about this team at the beginning of the season was losing Jalen Brunson. I think we all were apprehensive of that. But if you go back and look, and if you go back and try to remember what the Mavericks were like in the regular season before Jalen Brunson turned into him in the playoffs, but in the regular season, what Jalen Brunson is doing now and what Spencer Dinwiddie is doing now, honestly, basically the same thing. I think I wrote it down here. Both averaging 16 points, both averaging 4 or 5 assists on very, very similar shooting splits. The difference is Jalen Brunson turned into a 21 a game scorer in the playoffs. I don't know if Spencer Dinwiddie can do that. My expectations for the Mavericks, honestly, were around the 6th seed. The only reason I'm giving them a C, now that I'm thinking about it, I wrote down a C, but they did meet my expectations. I still have some apprehensions about this team. I'm going to make an audible on the fly. I'm going to give the Mavericks a B minus. Weary, what's good with you? Thanks for pulling up to the stream. How you doing? Bro, why aren't the Kings A+? You know what's crazy, Weary? You late. We talked about the Kings early, and I gave an official apology. I even gave an apology specific to you, Weary. Specifically to you. I said that you were right. I said you were right. I said you were right. And I'm gonna leave it at that. I think I did write down the Kings as A+. I just have them next to the. I just don't have an A+ tier. Get LaVine or OG. I'm assuming. My fault, OG. It's all good. I'm just messing with you. Just to anybody. Ew. Saddiq Bey? No disrespect to Saddiq Bey, but the Mavericks do not need Saddiq Bey. Get LaVine or OG or even Fred. The thing about the Dallas Mavericks that's interesting to me, because Luka, how good Luka is, I think it takes a very specific type of guard to play alongside of him. I think Brunson was perfect because he could get his own buckets. He could create a little bit. It was a smooth mix. I don't know if LaVine honestly would fit as well alongside Luka. Now, I say that, but he did play very, very well with DeMar these last 2 seasons. So, you know what I'm saying? It could be there. I'll be honest with you. I don't think they need Fred. That's just me. Fred's struggling a little bit. I don't know where you put Fred, but I don't think the Mavericks are where you would put Fred. A defensive guard who looks some help when he's resting. So that's why I can see the Fred conversations a little bit, maybe even as okay. I see the logic. After you explain it that way, I see the logic. I don't know if I fully agree, but I do see the logic. It's tough. It's very few players who, off the top of my head, would be like they would fit perfectly alongside Luka. Jalen Brunson fit perfect. But then the other guards, like I think that would quote unquote fit perfect, at least to me, they just simply aren't available. Tyrese Halliburton, I think, could play alongside Luka. He can shoot the ball. He knows how to just run a good offense. I think honestly Lonzo would go good alongside Luka, mainly because I've seen him play with DeMar and Levine, and two guys who get a lot of shots up, and he was still able to run that offense and fit well with them. Now we talking. Buddy Hield, I think, could fit well alongside Luka. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. This is my next point was about to be, I don't know who they're going to give up to make some of these moves happen. And I don't know what that would look like for them. But I like where they are right now. I like where they are at right now. And part of it is because you got Luka. So you're going to be solid just off the strength of Luka. Mavs wanted to get Halliburton. I understand it. To me, he would have been a perfect fit alongside Luka. They're similar ages. He would have fit the timeline. His play style, I think, would have complemented Luka very, very well, and would have been another guy who would have been able to, when the ball isn't in Luka's hands and Luka isn't creating for everybody, Halliburton can start creating for others. So it would have been perfect. But Pacers got him. Shout out to the Pacers. Somebody asked, where were you at? Why the Grizz at B, Weary? Long story short, Grizzlies were at B because I don't love their depth. They've missed Bane a little bit. And for me, they didn't necessarily exceed my expectations, but they met them. So that's why they're at a B for me. Just off the top of my head, real quick. Kings have been great. They deserve an A. I feel you on that one, Suns Geek. Reggie Bullock, Tim Mill, Davis Bertans, Wizards Legend 60. This is wild. That is wild, Weary. That is wild. All right, next team on the list. Let's do the Utah Jazz. The Utah Jazz were a team that was some teams, I'm just going to be straight up. I was wrong. Utah is one of the teams I was wrong at. I've said this multiple times. By now, I did not expect this Utah Jazz roster to look like this. By now, I expected team players to be moved. I expected Conley to be gone by now. I just expected Clarkson to be gone by now as well. I expected this team to look drastically different and a lot worse. Based on my expectations, I want to say I had the Jazz dead last in the Western Conference. Right now, the Jazz are 8th in the Western Conference, 25-25. They have slid down a little bit from the scorching that they were doing early in the season. I want to say at their peak, they were 2nd, 3rd in the West. Like, they were up there in standings. But with the way the Western Conference is right now, they go on like a 4-game win streak. They can be the 4th seed. Like, it is that close in the Western Conference right now. All that being said, y'all might hate me for this, but y'all are going to hate me for it, and I'm going to enjoy it. I gave the Jazz an A. I'm not going to lie to you. Based off of my expectations, I thought the Jazz were going to be trash. I'll be honest with you. I did not expect them to have the 4th best offense in the NBA. I did not expect Lauri Markkanen to be MIP and should be an all-star this year. I did not see that coming. I didn't even know Lauri had the way he's playing now. I didn't know he had that in his bag. Because to be honest with you, he didn't get that opportunity in Chicago or in Cleveland. He didn't get the opportunity to play like he's playing now. I didn't see this level of play from him. Jordan Clarkson, another guy who completely changed the way I see them. All throughout Jordan Clarkson's career, I looked at him as a 6-man shot chucker, just put up shots when you get into the game. He's changed that perception of me. He's changed that perception for me. He's playing with a whole lot more poise. His percentages are better than they've been, throughout his career. And I don't know for a fact, but I wonder if just like my perception of him changed once he went from a 6-man role to a starting role. I wonder if maybe his mindset shifted from when I get into the game, I just need to put up shots because I'm here to score, to, okay, I know I'm going to get these minutes. I know I'm here. I'm the starter. Let me play with a little more poise. Let me make some better decisions. I love the way the Jazz play basketball. Jared Vanderbilt's been great. Lauri really surprised me. I'm not going to lie. Conley's been a solid vet presence. I don't know if he's going to get traded. We hear him in trade rumors almost every day. We'll see what happens. The biggest honest surprise for me is Colin Sexton's play. Honestly, by now, I thought this was going to be Colin Sexton's team. I thought Colin Sexton was going to be able to go to this team and do whatever he wanted. It hasn't necessarily been the case, but he's also not really been bad either. He's not scoring at a crazy clip. Like, he's only scoring 14 a game, but he's shooting 50% from the field and 39% from the three. When he does attempt to score, he be getting them buckets. So I like the Jazz a lot. An A might seem high to a lot of people. Heck, it might even seem inconsistent with the rest of this list. And honestly, that's okay. To me, that is okay. Yeah, and that's a great point. I don't know what the Jazz record will be at the end of the season. Because to me, the Jazz record as it stands right now, or how it will be for the rest of the season, is really contingent on if they make any moves. Like, if you trade Mike Conley, if you trade Jordan Clarkson, that would change up the that would change up the way this team plays a lot. And it might have a impact on their record, depending on what you get back for them, obviously. We'll see. I mean, it's not like they don't have enough draft picks already that honestly they could just ride out this roster and see what they do in the offseason with some of these picks. But at the same time, it's like we could make the playoffs still. So do we want to continue to tank? I don't know. I don't know. I'm very curious to see what the Jazz does. I think a lot of it hinges on what they do with this roster come All-Star break. Luka and Gary Trent Jr. would be nice. I'm not mad at that. That's smooth. Last year, Laurie wasn't even top. That's what I'm saying. Laurie, I know people were saying SGA for most improved, and we'll talk about that when we get to the Thunder. For me, it's Laurie. It's Laurie all day. Like, it's Laurie all day. Remember under the last loss to the Western Conference, hey, the Suns can't do anything, right? Call me when Luka gets to the finals. Hey, I ain't mad at his Suns geek. I ain't mad at you. I ain't mad at you at all. I know. VR, listen. See, this is what happens. I mean, I love it because I love talking hoops, and it gives me the opportunity to talk about every team. I love these style of videos where we get the opportunity to touch on every team, because some teams I just really have a lot to say about. Some teams I don't. Like the Clippers, I don't think we stuck with them long. But it also gets the community going. The community gets talking, and y'all be giving good feedback on stuff. So it do be a lot, but these types of episodes are some of my favorites of just, you know what I mean? Just chilling and having a good time. These types of streams. Did I say episodes? I'd be feeling old sometimes. Jazz pissed me off from the front office perspective. Okay, like Conley, Vanderbilt, Beasley, Olynyk. I would love to see them contesting rosters, playing for Clarkson to the Bucks. Range, I get that, and that's honestly was my thought in the offseason, was all of those guys would be great on a contending team. But in the same token, all those guys playing well for the Jazz right now. And the Jazz, I think, are in a position to just, I don't necessarily say tank, because, I mean, if you're an 8th seed, you don't come off as a tanker. They could make a switch and they can move some of those guys. I think we will see at least 1 or 2 trades that the Jazz do. But they have enough picks that they can just kind of ride this roster out and see what's going to happen next time. In all fairness, Hawks, live streams go fast. So being live, no, live streams do go by fast. So often during a live stream, I'll be like, wait, we've been live for how long? And I haven't gotten to half my notes yet. So, you know what I mean? If I try to keep them to sub 2. The goal for me is usually always like an hour and a half. I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to go past that. But I try to keep them below 2 hours. Let's get through some of these, because at this rate, I don't even know if we're going to get through 2 hours. I mean, be under 2 hours. All right. So we just did the Jazz. So this is my first D. This is the first one I'm giving out. I think we all know where this one is going and who this is going to. It's to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, going into this offseason, I'm still baffled as to why I have the Timberwolves here as a 5 seed. It must have been because I was asking Timberwolves fans, and people was looking at me crazy. Because I feel like if I go back and actually watch what I said here, or even just go back and watch some older stuff that I put out in the offseason, I know I was skeptical of the Timberwolves. I know for a fact I was skeptical of these 2 centers playing together. And granted, before everyone says, well, Cat's been out. I get Cat's been out. But when Cat was there, they still was doo-doo. Or at least didn't look good. Cat has been out, only played 21 of the 49 games available so far this season. And when he was in, they were 10-11. It was the beginning of the season. It was still getting acclimated and getting used to playing together. And it was also still during the time when Anthony Edwards was making comments like, y'all want me to drive every play, but ain't no room in the paint. Talked about Rudy and Cat being in the paint in a way. Cat be looking lost on the perimeter on defensive rotations. And also, I have written down here, I'm a liar. Rudy Gobert is not a walking top 10 defense. I had been saying that for years. That had been the case in Utah. The Timberwolves are the 14th ranked defense in the league right now. It's nitpicky, but it ain't top 10. Rudy does not look like the Rudy that I've seen over the last 4 or 5 seasons. The energy doesn't seem there defensively. The level of engagement doesn't seem to be there. D'Lo to me is not the point guard that this team needs. No disrespect to D'Lo. I think he's a good basketball player. I personally don't enjoy his brand of basketball. Personally, don't think he's as good as D'Lo fans say he is. That might come across as hate. I don't know how else to phrase it though. I think the world and D'Lo fans specifically are waiting for D'Lo to have an opportunity to play like he did in Brooklyn in that like amazing year when they were just young and fun. I don't think we're going to see that from him again. Like, or at least not on the Timberwolves. That's not what the Timberwolves need. To me, the Timberwolves need a playmaking point guard that's not so much trying to focus on scoring and stuff. The ball, they score off of a lot of ISOs, which, I mean, obviously everybody in the NBA does, but this offense could use an injection from a playmaker, and D'Lo is not that. I'll say that. Anthony Edwards has been playing better lately. I know we just talked about him, what his comments were in the beginning of the season, saying he couldn't get to the basket. He has been playing better lately. The 3 ball has been dropping for him. I'm very curious to see what it's going to look like when Karl-Anthony Towns does come back. I'll be honest, off the top of my head, I do not know the timeline for his return. Last I saw, I don't know if there was a timeline for his return. I'll have to check that out after this just so I know for myself. But I don't like what I'm seeing from the Timberwolves. They made this big move. They traded all these picks and all these players. And so far, it's looking like it's backfiring. And when me and my boys be on Xbox at a party chat, one of my guys is a Timberwolves fan, the conversation starting to swirl around of if they really do feel like this was a mistake and they really decide to blow this up, the only way out of it, to me at least, is the only real way out to like really make a change is trading Cat. And that would be not insane, but what a complete 180 it would have been to go from making what you think is this huge move and trading for Rudy Gobert and then flipping it and doing complete 180 and ending up with trading Karl-Anthony Towns away, a guy who's been your franchise cornerstone since, he was drafted. That'd be tough. That would be tough. That would be tough. Hornets. We'll talk. Hornets. I'm not as high on the Hornets as I was. I feel like you're making that comment range comparing the Hornets to the conversation we just had about the Jazz. Not as high on the Hornets, but other pieces as I am on the Jazz other pieces. I like Oubre. Rozier, I think, is solid. Gordon Hayward, though, I don't love. He can't stay healthy. Like, I don't like that contract. Plumlee is okay, but also I don't necessarily love him as a player. Like, I'll put it this way: if I had to choose between like Plumlee, Jakob Poeltl, and I don't know, Steven Adams, I'm trying to just think of that style of center. I'm picking those other 2 guys before I pick Plumlee. That's just me though. Let me see here. Nope. All right. Moving on from the Suns, we just got a couple of teams left, and then we out of here. All right, more than a couple of teams left. More than a couple of teams. Let's do the Golden State Warriors. So Golden State Warriors, for me, in a finicky spot. They're 10th in the Western Conference. They're 23-24. They had a rocky start with the whole Draymond punching Jordan Poole situation. it was like all the buzz for like the first month of the season, and then I feel like everybody forgot it happened, myself included, until like last week when Taylor Rooks interviewed Draymond and she brought it up and asked him how that's been. I will be honest, I didn't get a chance to listen to the whole interview or really that segment, but the point is they started the season on a rocky stretch. Then Steph was playing absolutely amazing. He goes down with an injury. Uh, he missed some time, but they were still 16-16 even when he played, so still not absolutely amazing or phenomenal. And oddly enough, one of the things I wrote down here, this Warriors team doesn't feel like they have enough offense, which is crazy to say about a Warriors team, a team that we've praised their offense and we praised Steve Kerr for putting this amazing offense for the last 6 years. I'd say we've been having this conversation about the Warriors. But to me, it doesn't feel like there's enough offense here. Outside of Clay, Poole, and Steph, so much of their offense is predicated on those three guards, which obviously makes sense. Steph, healthy, you can make the argument best player in the league. You can make the argument best point guard of all time. Like, this is like let's be real of who we're talking about here in Steph Curry. Klay Thompson, we're talking about one of the best shooters, if not the second best shooter to ever touch a basketball. Let's be real on who we're talking about here. But I just feel like, if those three get into form, mess around in a playoff series, that three ball gets rolling, you're not stopping them. Like, I want to say all that as a caveat to say I'm not just completely ragging on the Warriors and say they not nice. However, that's still a lot to ask from just those three players. And outside of those three players, I really don't feel like there's any offense on this team. Yeah, I know Wiggins is there, feeling that can kind of do whatever and kind of do everything role, very similar to what we was talking about Aaron Gordon at the top of the show. But for me, it just feels like they were trying to have their cake and eat it too. The Warriors were really hoping to get a lot from Moses Moody, Wiseman, Kuminga. Wiseman's still in the G League because he ain't been looking good at all. Moses Moody and Jonathan Kuminga are still trying to figure it out, but not fast enough, I think, for the Warriors timeline. I think they expected those three guys to be a crucial part of what they were building. That's why they let some of their guys go last year that helped them win that championship, like Otto Porter. All right, he's the only name that's coming off to my mind, off the top of my head. But y'all know some of them, those wings, Gary Payton II, like some of those guys who they just let go from that championship roster, I think was because, one, they obviously couldn't afford to pay everybody. Understandable. It is a business. You got it's numbers. But two, I think they were really expecting a lot from some of these young guys, and they're just not ready on the Warriors timeline. All that being said, with all the injuries, with everything that's going on, I gave the Warriors a C. It's crazy to think, for me at least, that the Warriors are the 10 seed. Now, granted, the West is close, yada, yada, yada. You win 5 games, you're the 4 seed. We get it by now, right? It still feels off to me. Now, granted, you can mess around and the Warriors end up being the 7 seed. You face them in the first round, they mess around, and the Warriors could beat the Grizzlies in a 7-game series. Like, that's how good the Warriors could be in the playoffs. But midway through the season, they get a C for me. That's all. What trade can the Wolves do? Like I said, I think D'Lo or Cat. That's the only real trades that would make a real impact. Now, granted, I don't know who you trade those guys for, but hey, Gary Payton Jr., you casual. All right, let's do the Lakers. So, the Lakers, if you don't know, 13th in the Western Conference. They're 22-26. LeBron is playing great. And depending on who you talk to, somebody will convince you that LeBron's not playing great. Does LeBron look like how he looked 6 years ago? Absolutely not. Is he playing as much defense as he has in the past? No. But the scoring is there. And to be honest with you, if the Lakers win games, it's probably because LeBron had 40. Like, that's just the way the Lakers season is going right now. So shouts out to LeBron. Russ, honestly, has been playing a lot better since coming off the bench and really embracing that bench role. Now, don't go looking at its efficiency. It's going to look very Russ-like. But if you know Russ and been a fan of Russ throughout his career, he ain't never been the most efficient. But the impact and the energy is there. Anthony Davis, when healthy, looked absolutely phenomenal. He, for real, no exaggeration, was my pick for Defensive Player of the Year. And honestly, he was in a conversation to win both MVP and DPOY if the Lakers were actually good. He was that good. If you don't know, AD was averaging 27 points, 12 rebounds a game, 2 blocks a game, 59% from the field, and he stopped shooting threes, which was the best decision he could have ever made in my mind. He shot way too many threes last year trying to find a shot that was not there. Thomas Bryant has stepped up a lot in Anthony Davis' absence and looked better. But the Lakers still aren't perfect. And I'll be honest, even with Anthony Davis playing as well as he was, I still didn't love this roster. We'll see what the Rui trade is nice. We'll see how it fares in the second half of the season. But these grades are for the first half of the season. And I'll be honest, the first half of the season for the Lakers was still very, very rocky. I gave the Lakers a D. I know I said a whole lot of great things about them, but I gave them a D. They still don't have enough three-point shooting on this team to be for real and play for real. The Rui trade came at the right time, but like I said, all season long, we kept saying they needed size on the wing. I was sick of seeing 3-guard rotations. Defensively, they started off the season very, very good, but that was just off the strength of Anthony Davis. Once Anthony Davis was out, we saw that this 3-guard lineup that they had been running is not good defensively. They're 21st in the league defensively at the present time. The Lakers still have a lot of holes to fix. Even if Anthony Davis comes back and is the exact same Anthony Davis that he was, I don't know how drastically better. Like, this is not going to magically make the Lakers a top 4 seed in the West. I'm gonna keep it a beam with you. It's not, even with Anthony Davis playing great. So we'll see if they make any more moves. I don't know if they will. Maybe they will. Maybe they won't. It's even some controversy, and I think internally, of whether they decide to trade those 2 first-round picks to go all in now or try to mortgage their future, or hold on to those 2 picks and see what happens with their future. I don't know. But because of the turmoil, because of the indecisiveness from the front office, the roster that they put together there, I gave him a D. I'm assuming the Sixers just did something. My boy just texted me saying and one, going crazy, saying bump the Sixers. I'm assuming my Sixers just lost. That's my assumption. I let me see. NBA.com. I'm just curious. Did the Sixers lose? Did the Sixers just lose? Oh, why is he saying and one after? Why is he saying bump this week? It's 107-98. That's actually a really good game against the Nets. Y'all lucky I rock with y'all. I'm missing a good game right now. Ant-Man, what's good? Thanks. Welcome back, bro. All right. We just did the Lakers. I think the last teams we have: Trailblazers, Thunder, and Spurs. Is that it for West? And then we out of here? Oh, and the Rockets. It be mad teams in the NBA, and I don't be feeling like it is, but it is. All right. The Thunder, cats out the bag. We just gave a team a D. I gave the Thunder an A, and I'm going to tell you why. The Thunder are a team who, on any given night, have an opportunity to win. And, all right, I might be exaggerating. No. I gave the Thunder a B. I'm making it audible. Gave the Thunder a B. I love what they're doing. If you look at their numbers, it's nothing crazy stand outish as a team, except SGA. SGA's been playing absolutely amazing. He's entered into this, hey, yo, I'm a star in this league. I'm here. He should be an all-star this season. I think he'll be an all-star for seasons moving forward. He also, to me at least, it's cool to see players who you've had love for like the last 3-4 seasons. Like the last 3 years, I've been like, yo, SGA is nice. SGA is nice. SGA is underrated. And this year it went from SGA is underrated to like, no, SGA is him, and the rest of the league knows it. I think Josh Giddey is a great backcourt pairing for him, being having somebody else who can play make for others. And they get Chet next year. It's not impossible to think that the Thunder could be in the play-in. I don't know if they're going to win that game or, make the playoffs or anything like that, but it's not crazy to think that Thunder could be in the play-in, considering I didn't think they would be this good, especially once Chet was also out. it's a testament to their just willingness to, go out and play hard every night. And what I mean by they legit can fight and almost win any game, and I think the 23-24 record is a great example of this. They don't really get blown out often. I'm not saying it don't happen, but it's not often. Like for my example and point is here, they average 116 points a game. They give up 115. It's not a crazy margin, but my point is they're not really getting blown out. They were right there in the thick of things, and every game they play, they have an opportunity to win. Now, do every game they play, do they win? No. Part of it is because they're young. They don't always execute well down the stretch, and a more experienced, more talented team can beat them in the fourth quarter, but they be in games, and I love seeing that for the Thunder. Absolutely love seeing that for the Thunder. Oh, Lizzie, what's good? Thanks for pulling to the stream, my guy. L. Ross, I don't know if you're still on the TikTok, but I do appreciate that comment. Said I'm underrated. I appreciate that, my boy. Let's do the Trailblazers. So the Trailblazers, listen, the Thunder are better than the Warriors as a team, Hawk. What are we doing? No. Listen. Olizi, this grades, right? These aren't grades based on what team is better, what team is worse. That's part of it, I'll admit. But it's more so grading him and reevaluating him based on what my expectations were going into this season. So my expectations for the Warriors was going to be one of the top teams in the Western Conference. They're not right now, so they get a C. My expectation for the Thunder were one of the bottom teams in the Western Conference. They're still close to the bottom. I ain't gonna lie, they're 11. But they're playing way better than I expected them to. So that's what I get a B. It's a catch-22. It's a weird system, but yeah. Yeah, you with me now. I feel you. All right, let's talk about the Portland Trailblazers. Let me just say off the rip, because I don't have a lot nice to say about the Blazers. I'm gonna keep it a bean. I'm happy to see Dame being Dame. Dame is back. He looks absolutely phenomenal. He's hit a couple of, he's had a couple of Dame-esque fourth quarters. Actually, shout out to that game against against the Lakers the other night when Pat Bev was doing this, saying the watch was broke. Absolutely hilarious. But outside of that, Dame is back and he does look great. But the first note I have written for the Trailblazers was, what was the point of trading CJ McCollum? What truly was the point? Because yes, does the roster look a little bit different? Sure. But they're in the exact same place, if not worse, than they were when they had CJ. The starting five is solid. I liked it. I like why is his name like literally just gone? Anthony Simons, I'm liking what he's doing. I like to see his play alongside Dame. I like Jeremy Grant. That's the name that was just gone. My brain was just saying Grant Williams, and I know that's not who I was trying to think of. I love Jeremy Grant. I like what he's bringing to this team. Simons, yes, range. Simons is the same player as CJ. A little younger, but very similar play style. I like what I'm seeing from Jeremy Grant. He has been great for them on the wing. I'm a low-key Yusuf Nurkic fan. I think he was having a season a couple of years ago where I think he might have been having potential to make an all-star, maybe like it might have honestly been probably like 3 years ago. And he went down with a really bad, he like broke his foot, derailed him, and he hasn't been fully the same since then. But when I look at the bench for this team, there's not much here. I'm not going to lie. Justice Winslow is there. Josh Hart is there. Jeremy Grant, like the wing depth is there. But when I look at just like the rest of the team in terms of what can this team actually do if they're trying to make a playoff run, if they're trying to be a good team out west, this team doesn't strike me as a team that's trying to be a good team out west. They started up the season really hot. They started out the season towards the top of the Western Conference in that first like 2-3 weeks. But also in that 2-3 week span, there was like 3 or 4 buzzer beaters. They're always in close games. And if they don't, and like if it's not Dame time and Dame doesn't go crazy in the last 2 minutes of a game, they lose a lot of games. We just talked about how the Thunders, I thought it was interesting because I was thinking about this with the Blazers. We just talked about how the Thunder's scoring averages between them and their opponents. The Blazers is even closer. The Blazers score 113.6 points a game. They give up 113.1. They are in a lot, and I mean a lot of close games. And for a team that has Damian Lillard, traded away CJ, and try to do this full retooling and doing all this stuff to try to get Jeremy Grant and now they're grooming Anthony to take CJ's spot, and I just feel like they did a lot of moves for absolutely nothing. I would not be surprised if the Blazers aren't even a play-in team. I would not be surprised at all, because I'm gonna keep it a bean. If Anthony Davis comes back and is somewhat healthy for the rest of the season, if Rui Hachimura turns out to be half decent for the Lakers could bump them and end up in a play-in, and the Blazers could be a lottery team, which is absolutely insane to think about considering all the stuff they did. And without rambling any longer about the Blazers, I gave them a D. It's not. I don't like what's happening over there in Portland at all. And I get it. They're at the point where most people would say, trade Dame, trade Dame, trade Dame. Well, Dame don't want to be traded. And shout out to Kenny Beecham. He said it, and I'm saying it. I'm not saying trade Dame until Dame say trade me. Because we've had this conversation for years that it's just not going to work in Portland. And he want to stay 10 toes down, and that's cool with me. That really is cool. You're going to generate generational wealth for you, your kids, your family. Nobody in your lineage is going to have to work for years. But as a team that's trying to win championships, allegedly, this ain't it. This is not it. All right, 2 teams left. I gave the Spurs. I gave both these teams a B, honestly. I'm going to just go loop them all in ones because I got the same notes somewhat written for both teams. I gave the Spurs and the Rockets both Bs because they're 2 teams that I expected to be bad. They are being bad. And I see some development along the way. And that's, to an extent, all you can ask for with some of these bad teams. Talking about the Spurs, shout out to Malachi Branham. If you know, you know. I like what I'm seeing from Keldon Johnson. He continues to develop. First time in his career, he's a 20-point scorer, but not necessarily shooting amazing. This don't feel right. I don't like where I had these teams. I'm re-looking at my notes because I do have some qualms. I'm going to give them both Cs. They're both bad teams that are trying to be bad. They're doing a good job of trying to be bad. I'll be honest, I don't love the player development that I'm seeing, especially from the Rocket side of things. Şengün has been playing well as of late. His last couple of games, he's been putting on the show, 24 points, 12 rebounds, 72% from the field in his last 4 games. They lost all 3, but he's been hooping. I think the Rockets have a potential trade for Eric Gordon. I would like to see him somewhere else. I don't really see him doing anything for the Rockets. I get, in theory, you want a vet there, but he doesn't strike me as like the vet presence that's really going to have an impact on these young guys. Jalen Green, Kevin Porter Jr., I like what I'm seeing from them. They are still developing. They are still really, really young. I think this team needs a point guard. Because neither of those guys to me are a playmaking point. And if you really want to unlock the potential of this team, because like I said, Kevin Porter Jr. shooting 43% from the field, Jalen Green shooting 41% from the field. There's a lot of shot chucking going on over there. I think a playmaking point, even if it's a young guy that's developing his playmaking skills, but someone with that skill set, that mindset will do good for this team to get some of these guys some better shots. Because I think there's potential in this Rockets organization. They just got to figure it out. Same thing with the Spurs. I don't know if there's as much potential in the Spurs organization as it is in the Rockets organization. But I think the Spurs have potential to trade away some solid pieces. Jakob Poeltl, I think, could be on the trade deadline. What is his name? Their small forward wing type player could also be available for trade, at least in my world. Let me see if I know who I'm talking about off the top of my head, because it's going to bug me. San Antonio Spurs roster. Nope. Doug McDermott. That's what I was thinking of. I've heard him in some trade talk. So between Doug McDermott and Jakob Poeltl, I think those are 2 guys that the the Spurs could move. Maybe get like a pick or 2 for those guys. Nothing crazy, but it's funny. Josh Richardson, Doug McDermott I was talking about, but it's funny. Josh Richardson has been coming up in a lot of trade talks. And as a Sixers fan, I'm gonna tell all y'all teams right there, do not trade for that man. Don't trade for him. We thought we got a nice little pickup when we had to do that little sign and trade with Jimmy Butler. We was like, Josh Richardson had been playing well for the Miami Heat. We'll pick him up and bring him to Philly. Doo-doo when he got to Philly. Don't do it, y'all. Don't do it. So this is my Western Conference grades. A little bit all over the place. Keep in mind, if you see a team on here that you're like, how are they so low? How are they so high? Keep in mind, these grades are not saying one team is drastically better than the other. These grades are a mix of my expectations and how they are performing. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. I think it's cool. These are always fun for me. Once again, I said the same thing last week, but it gives me opportunity to talk about every team, and it gives opportunity to spark some interesting conversations as we go through it, with the live chat and with even the comment section after we're on the rewatch gang. All right, let's see what the comments are talking about. All right, Range, what you talking about on here? I'm gonna keep it a buck. You're trying to win now. I'm trading Jurkic and maybe Sheldon for Pascal. That makes sense, but honestly, that's cool. But I'll be rude. I don't think there's a retooling this team really could do to try to win if you're the Blazers. Because if you trade Nurkic, who's their center off the bench? I can't remember off the top of my head, but like, Nurkic would be nice on the Raptors. I think he would be. And Pascal would be smooth, but do you want Pascal or Jeremy Grant on the same team? I don't know. I don't know. TJ McConnell and MLK Day flew MLK Day or flu game from MJ. Yo, TJ McConnell and MLK Day really did go crazy. Shout out to him. There's always somebody who has a great MLK Day game. Always somebody has a great MLK Day game. I'm going with TJ. Shout out to MJ. You know what I mean? He's my GOAT. But TJ is a former Sixer, so I'm going with TJ McConnell and MLK Day all day. You feel me? All right. Well, I think we're gonna be out of here. I went over all of my notes for everything. I don't necessarily have any other notes I wanted to go through. Next week, I'm fingers crossed, hoping and praying there's some trades that happen between this week and next week. If trades happen, we will talk about the trades that happen. If trades don't happen, I'm gonna come with some trades. It might be some trades that y'all have put in the Discord. So it's actually low-key Range. You got a couple of trades that I want to make some videos for. I think I'm gonna save them and use it for next week's stream. But if you have any more trades that you want to talk about, want me to check out, send them my way, drop them in the Discord, join the Discord, link in bio, shameless plug. But next week we will be talking all things trades because the trade deadline is right around the corner. The trade deadline, if I'm not mistaken, is February 9th. I want to say we came to that conclusion last stream. The trade deadline, I believe, is February 9th, which is literally right around the corner. So, yeah, they somebody got to figure something out. Somebody got to figure something out because I want some trades to happen, and trades ain't, and trades just simply ain't happening. They simply not happening. But all right, y'all, I'm out of here. I will catch y'all next week. Thanks so much for watching and rocking with your boy, and I'll see you in the next one. I'm out. Peace.